Welcome to this quick lesson for American government. We have noticed that students have had some difficulty separating these three different principles of the U.S. Constitution, so we are hoping to visualize these differences so you can tell the differences between separation of powers, checks and balances, and federalism. First, let's look at the differences between separation of powers and federalism. So here we have a national level of government, a state level of government, and you'll see that at each level of government, they are separated into three different branches. At the national level, we have a legislative branch that's our U.S. Congress. We have the president, who is the head of the executive branch, and we have a set of federal courts headed by the U.S. Supreme Court. At the state level, we also have three branches of government. In Ohio, our legislative branch is the General Assembly. We have a governor, who is the head of the executive branch of Ohio, and we have an Ohio Supreme Court and a set of state court systems that all make up the judicial branch. Those different jobs given to those three different branches is the separation of powers. Now, if we look at federalism, federalism is the idea that we have a national level of government and a state level of government. It is not about the differences between the branches of government. It's just the division between the levels of government. If we wanted to get more detailed, we could also have a third row that would be our local government below the state level. But the idea is that state governments have some powers and national governments have other powers. Sometimes state and national governments have similar powers, like they can both tax us. Yay! Taxes! But there are some powers that only the national government has that would only be above that red line, and some powers that are only given to state governments that are below that red line. So this is separation of powers. Different. Think of the branches of government. Federalism is the levels of government, a different division. Okay? Now let's also look at the difference between separation of powers and checks and balances. These are both related to the idea that we have three branches of government, but they're slightly different. Okay, let's look first. Separation of powers. That's within those boxes. Those are the powers given to the legislative branch, writes and creates laws. The executive branch then enforces those laws. The judicial branch interprets those laws. Those are within those branches of government, within those boxes. Those are the powers given to those branches. That's their job. That's their main job. But the Founding Fathers also wanted to make sure none of these three branches got too powerful. So they gave them powers to check the other branches. They gave them abilities to keep the other two branches in check and balance things out. Those are these powers related to these arrows outside of it. So the veto power that the president has over legislation is a check that the president has over Congress. That does not relate to its job as an executive branch of enforcing law. That is separation of powers. The check is the ability to veto laws, Congress's ability to confirm or reject appointments that the president makes, including to the Supreme Court. The president has power over the federal court system and that the president gets to appoint judges. But again, Congress has to confirm or reject those appointments. So all three are involved there in checks and balances. The ultimate power the judicial branch has is they can declare acts that the president does or laws from Congress as unconstitutional. That's their power of judicial review, which is also related into this, but that is a check that they have. So the green boxes are checks and balances. The purple boxes within that is separation of powers. That's their main job. And then the green boxes are the checks they have over other branches. So hopefully this has helped clear that up. If you're still not sure about these different principles, definitely give your government teachers a call to go over that.